Hi, we have Kevin Kline from Ageris Group joining us. Kevin has a 30-year experience on the ground as an FBI investigator and field agent. I will have Kevin kind of talk about his background, which is very colorful and very interesting. Kevin, nice to have you.
Nice to be here. Thank you very much.
Tell me about your past life before you started Ageris Group. What's your background? And please talk about your Ageris Group in terms of what you guys do and your background and some of what you're applying to your consulting business.
Exactly. And thank you for the opportunity. Prior to becoming and forming the Ageris Group, I was an agent with the FBI for approximately 30 years. Started as an agent, worked in criminal matters, advanced through management ranks, was a senior executive for quite a while. Transitioned into a lot of national security and cyber matters along with intel matters. Was fortunate enough to do extensive work internationally. Spent time in approximately 32 different countries, primarily doing national security investigations. Spent a lot of time in Russia doing a lot of work there. Afghanistan, spent a lot of time there as well. Ended my career as running national security investigation here in Connecticut. At the time of my retirement, we formed, my partner and I, Patty Farrick, who was also a senior executive with the FBI, formed the Ageris Group. We're a full service corporate and security investigative firm. We serve a wide variety of clients, private individuals, corporations, nonprofit organizations as well. We have a significant and diverse client portfolio. In addition, we offer a full range of services. Our experience and expertise that we bring to the table, we're able to scale to our clients and sit down with them and kind of have them order a la carte off the menu as to what they need for their business. Primarily we do more and more of cyber work, cybersecurity, and we're finding more and more that cybersecurity is bleeding into a lot of other different components in the security spectrum. And there's a lot of, as we've seen, not only intrusion, but from setup, and there's a number of different components that go into the cybersecurity topic. As I often say, cybersecurity means something different to many different people depending on who you talk to and when and what their experiences are. And what we try to do is we try to hit to all those fields relative to cybersecurity.
Got it. So in terms of, that's interesting. You mentioned cybersecurity means different things to different people. For some people, it's IP address configuration. For other people, it's insider threat. And tell me this human machine divide in thinking about cybersecurity and that framework, especially from your background in FBI and looking through this at a state level, I guess.
Yeah, the cybersecurity divide between a person and machine or technology, so to speak, should only be looked at like that relative to both being prophylactic in protection and prevention, but then they do merge, together, obviously, in reality and in whatever entity is involved. We often look at where at the technical side that is obviously evolving with technology, and also the technology of intrusion and the ability to infiltrate, penetrate, and compromise different aspects of the technology. That is always going to keep moving in a forward direction. The other part of it is the human part, and the human part also has a lot of those things as well relative to prevention and investigation as well. One of the things we recommend to a lot of our clients is we try to do what we call a 360 on cybersecurity, where we can look at the technical side, but also on the individual side. And that not only involves training, but it really begins, our recommendation is that anyone involved with your cyber component of your entity, it really begins with the background investigation.
Interesting. Interesting. Because people generally feel that training is enough, but it's you pass an exam and you're done for the year. When you say training, what works, what doesn't in your experience?
What works with training is two things. One is the importance of of an individual's role relative to cybersecurity. I don't think that can ever be emphasized enough. And then the next part of it is then the training as to what a company and organization is using relative to security, and all the while to have that training be worthwhile. We've all sat through training that has just been where you nod, it's Charlie Brown's teacher, it means nothing, and we check the box, we leave the room, and we flush anything that we have learned in that training session. But to make it worthwhile, it should be short, it should be to the point, and it needs to go to what the step is that the training is trying to achieve. In other words, is it something new from a technology standpoint that's going to be to training? Is it something that an individual should be informed of as a new way that they can be impacted relative to the organization's cybersecurity? That normally is that how we look at training is really to stress to the individual employees what the importance of their role is, and then what the new methods are, the new intrusion methods, the new schemes, plans that they could be targeted by which there would be a breach or an impact on their organization's cybersecurity. So there's a lot of people who are developing a lot of the different training, and but to make it short, to make it precise, and to make it worthwhile, that should be the ultimate goal.
And this obviously touches upon insider threat. In your experience, um, uh, what are signs of a malfeasance about to happen? Are there any early triggers, early warnings that could be by the managers, by the corporations? I'm not saying snooping on the employees, but what are the steps proactively needs to be taken to, especially with this work from home state of mind of people? What have you seen in the recent past, which has led to some of the insider threats materializing into a full cyber breach?
Yeah, the vast majority of negative impacts relative to cyber in the business community emanate or are propelled by an individual working in the company, either deliberately or negligently. Those are the two things. It all begins, we look at it as kind of a continuum. We look at it when you hire someone, they need to undergo a full background relative to not only their checks relative to their history, but also an assessment of their professional skills. Are they reliable, trustworthy, dependable? Talk to previous people. It needs to be a full investigation to ensure the type of person that you're hiring, especially if they are being hired to do and could have an impact on your cybersecurity and are working from home. The first studies are now coming out. We're a year into COVID, a year into work from home. The first studies are coming out, and they are not ideal relative to what home from work is doing relative to corporate security in general and cybersecurity specifically. And so you look at that. And when we talk about background investigations, it should not only be upon hiring, but they should be continuous during your life in the company relative to have things changed. Insider threat is a huge threat. Life situations change, financial, personal. There could be other motivators for someone to become a disgruntled employee, need financial resources, or just have an interest to see what they can get away with. We've seen all of that. So it also is a part of training, but we're not only training employees of what not to do, but we're also training other employees to be aware of changes in behavior of their fellow employees that should be brought. I've never seen an insider threat where a case where other employees haven't said something along the lines of, you know what, man, that guy had a lot of foreign travel, was going through a difficult marriage, was having problems, and that should put things on the radar, and that should be a part of training as well. So the insider threat, either through negligence or through active action relative to the cyber system and their cyber networks, is the primary factor relative to cybersecurity intrusions.
But I think the bottom line, what you're saying is the roles for cyber needs to be vetted out a lot more than what you would do for a normal employee.
Absolutely.
Talk about your time, in your past life. I'm sure you can't share much, but some experiences around being in Russia and dealing with cyber and stuff. Like, just talk about that past life in terms of motivations around these state-based threats.
Yeah, yeah. It no secret, having worked national security, cyber intrusion matters. There are a number of nation states, and the two largest are China and Russia. China is our greatest counterintelligence threat, hands down, no doubt about it. They put out, they have a plan every 5 years of what they want and what they need and what they're going to get. The Russians are the same of what they need. The cyber modality, so to speak, is the way that they go about it. Spent a lot of time in Russia. They're very at times they seem very rudimentary in some of their things, but their technology, their systems relative to cyber are, especially in the counterintelligence arena, are absolutely exemplary. And in addition, the Chinese are the same. They want a lot of our let's call them secrets, and they could be corporate, relative to ways they can increase their own yield of agriculture, all the way to military design, military components that they're trying to undercover as well. The Russians as well have trying to understand, what we have, what we're doing, what we're perfecting. The targeting of clear defense contractors and other entities so involved. Then they have a whole other side on their counterintelligence groups that are trying to impact the way we perceive information through social media and other ways as well. So this national security, cyber intrusion, those are the two primary countries that are a threat. You've quickly followed by both Iran and North Korea, but their rules, their regulations, the way they go about doing things are all four countries are without impunity. They just do what they want. They don't have rules that they are governed by, like we do here in the U.S. The other thing that we need to be very aware of is every company in Russia, every company in China is controlled by the government, and the government will use those companies against the United States for their overall government purposes. And that is something that we need to be very cognizant of, primarily because we need to engage in free commerce with these countries, but all the while we need to be very clear and very understanding relative to the overall impact on cybersecurity.
And I'm a small business or a mid-sized business. I'm probably day-to-day coming in. I'm too small to be attacked. What are you seeing on the ground? Like, every day we see some big breach, this and that. How bad is the situation on the ground with the number of breaches going on right now, and who's being most affected?
Everyone's being affected, and a lot of times it's a trickle down effect, as we've seen with the solar winds as well. The full extent and the breadth of that is going to take at least probably another year to kind of figure out the totality of that impact. But a lot of smaller companies may not understand their role in the bigger picture, their bigger role in the supply chain. So all of those companies become a target from a national security state relative to an intrusion, because their little part of the chain could be that little part that country needs to facilitate a goal that they're trying to achieve. Additionally, even protecting and enhancing your cybersecurity in a number of different ways also ensures greater economic viability for your company at the onset. So at the same time of enhancing training in furthering all aspects of cybersecurity, you're both trying to keep away any national foreign state actor who's trying to do an intrusion for a nefarious purpose, all the while ensuring the economic viability of your company as well.
And what are the common methods of intruding into small, mid-sized businesses right now? What have you seen?
Everything. I mean, from just yeah, the old trying to emails, phishing, spear phishing, all of those continue because we go back to humans. The easiest way to get into a system is by someone being overtly doing it or negligently, leaving the door open, so to speak. So there are components in a lot of countries and a lot of criminal organizations as well, which try to devise, those plans, those opportunities, and with the whole goal of the wider net, the more lines that are thrown in the water on a number of different companies or a lot of different companies in the same market area or in the same technology. The hope is that one of those employees lets them in that door. So, there's tried and true that are going on. And then on the opposite side is the actual overt efforts relative to penetrating networks, compromising networks, introducing anything, malware, a number of different components that'll either, mirror out data, provide entry. So these groups can just kind of rummage around and take what they want, or allow these groups to come in, set up shop, and leave other things around where that intrusion will continue even after there's initial effort to secure back networks and systems.
Understood. Understood. And what's the best way to get hold of you? And how are you helping? Maybe just talk a little bit about, like, in terms of, do I call you up when I have a breach? Like, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way to get in touch with us is through our website, the Ageris Group, AGGERIS group.com. We have a full response cyber capability that we're able to implement anywhere. What we do is we put boots on the ground. A lot of people in the business like to do things remotely. I think that it makes sense to have someone there to help facilitate connectivity, communication, coordination. So what we do, we're able to do a number of things. We're doing more and more of the ransomware as well. That is a big cyber problem that we are going to, I think, continue to see. And that, we're able to kind of work with our background where it's kind of a two-pronged process on the actual intrusion cyber 1 and 0 side, as well as the negotiation. We're able to mirror that up with a client and understand where their sweet spot is of cost benefit analysis of what is being asked, what they can afford, what are the business realities. We're able to kind of put that together while the technological side understands the depth, the extent, and the rehabilitation process that's going to take place. So we're able to do all that on the cyber side. The Ageris Group, because of all the different things that we do, a lot of times a client comes away with an understanding that the cybersecurity component of their business is just a part of the continuum of security overall. And we're able to offer a full menu by which clients, order a la carte, and we're able to say, okay, here's what you need, from background investigations, cybersecurity, a lot of internal investigations. We have full surveillance groups we're able to do. We're able to do full electronic sweeps. We're able to do and then we offer a lot of identity protection to our clients as well. So sitting down with the client, understanding their security concerns, and then doing the security assessment across the board from physical, site, personnel, cyber, we're kind of able to present a package to them. And our clients then begin to order what they want. And oftentimes that leads and all the time is now leading to a long-term relationship with the clients we serve.
And so you don't recommend trying to negotiate on if I'm attacked on a ransomware. You don't recommend trying to answer emails directly. Like you would hire experts for that.
Yeah, I would hire experts to that. There's a lot of intel that goes into ransomware, because a lot of these groups target over and over and over, and they have the same method, and we're able to have an understanding of what their history is. So some companies say, "Hey, listen, I only have a 48-hour window, or else I'm bankrupt because I need my system back." So with that reality, we're able to go back and do the intel on it and say this company is often the bad guys are offering X to release the key, but they'll take 10% of that, and you have 48 hours. So let's cut to the chase. We'll offer them 10%. We'll say 48 hours. We'll have the technology side work it, and then let us do the negotiation where we can understand what they want, and it's based on experience, the reality, as also the intel. Once we identify who the actual perpetrators are, because that is their full-time job. So they've left a track record that once we're able to, we can say, oh, okay, that's Sam. We know what Sam's group wants and what their history is around the world. Here's what it'll take, and then we're able to work with the client on that cost benefit analysis.
Awesome. On that sobering thought, Kevin, thank you so much for your time. And
You got it. Thank you.
we'd love to have you back. And thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks.